We're just going to do a quick overview on the parts and pieces of the septic system and kind of take a look inside the septic tank. I can describe the plumbing coming in and the plumbing coming out, and just kind of generally see how it works. And everybody's septic system is going to look a little bit different, but you're going to have the same parts and pieces. Basically, you have a pipe that comes out of the house. Sometimes there's what's called a clean out right outside the foundation. It's just a 4-inch pipe that comes up and maybe sweeps both ways in case there's a clog. This pipe comes into the septic tank. Water or effluent flows through the septic tank, solids settle out, and scum floats to the top, and the middle layer should be relatively clear. Once that kind of takes its time moving through, then it goes out to what we call a soil treatment area, or more commonly referred to as a leach field. Also, the septic system as a whole, septic is just a common term. Now we refer to them as on-site wastewater treatment systems. So it puts the term treatment more at the forefront. Not that we're just getting rid of it, it's going somewhere. There is a process that takes place both in the septic tank and the soil treatment area. And that treatment is important for the effluent to take care of additional nutrients, viruses, bacteria, anything that might be harmful before it hits our groundwater, surface water, or drinking water. I've brought a couple handouts that show what a septic tank looks like, because when you look at this, it's hard to visualize. What does it look like? So there's a top view and a section view of the tank. There are 2 lids. Sometimes people think, I've got 2 tanks in my yard. Most tanks have 2 compartments, and so there are 2 access lids to those compartments. Jay's particular tank has multiple risers, and you can see that this tank is aging, just the condition of the concrete. And it's okay for you guys to come up and take a peek in. There should be plumbing coming in this side of the tank. However, we can't see it very well. It's depicted better in the handout that I'm showing, but basically it's a PVC tee that comes through the side of the tank and then sticks down into the water about 14 inches or so. And what that does is it directs the wastewater down into the tank to facilitate the settling of the solids and the floating of the scum. So you can see the scum layer on top. Below that will be a clearer liquid, and then below that is where all the solids settle out. On the paper I'm sending around, you'll see that there is a baffle wall about 2/3 of the way through, and then there's a place where the water can pass through. So most of the solids settle in this compartment, and then they have another chance to settle in this compartment. So if you do come over here, you can actually see the plumbing that's going out of the septic tank, and that is the same tee that's on this side. And what that does is it allows clear water from that clearer zone to come up through that tee and exit the tank, because what you don't want is solids getting into your soil treatment area, just liquids. Newer systems will have filters on that tee that need to be cleaned, and they're fairly easy to remove as long as they have a handle. Installing a filter could increase the length of time that your soil treatment area will last. When it's appropriate to have your septic tank pumped is when the solids accumulation in the tank get to be 25 to 33%, and those are just numbers. But basically, when you've got a couple feet of solids in your tank, it's time to pump, because what you don't want, as these 2 layers come together, they'll just start mixing more and more, and there'll be more suspended solids that work their way out. So I usually take a couple readings. He's got a decent scum layer that's kind of hard to get through, and sometimes it'll clog it up. See, it shows, you know. And on this side, the scum layer is not as developed, and it shouldn't be. And the liquid should be clearer, and it is a bit. So That's what it looks like. So the more things that you put into your septic tank that really could go in the garbage, in the end, you're just going to pay to have them pumped out. You want to keep solids out of your tank, except the ones that absolutely have to go in here. When you have a normal gravity-fed system, as I think many of you do, your tank will always be at a full level. So yes, it's normal for the tank to be full, even just weeks after you've had it pumped. And so the water coming in will then work its way through the tank and go out. So what comes in then goes out. If you look at your septic tank and find your water level is this far below the pipe, it's not because you're doing a great job and conserving a ton of water, it's because your tank is leaking. The septic tank effluent leaves the septic tank and then enters a field of some size and configuration. They could be trenches, they could be a gravel bed with perforated pipes on them. Newer technologies, maybe starting in the 90s, are these gravelless chambers. So the soil treatment area is based on the number of bedrooms in the house and how quickly the soil accepts effluent or water. The inspection ports at the end of the laterals are really very important, because when your leach field, or if your leach field or soil treatment area ever becomes saturated, water will pool and pond in that port, and you'll be able to see that's happening.